15 things you need to know before making a move to Marietta, Georgia. In this video, I'm going to go over the 15 things that will be helpful for you to know prior to making a move, prior to going under contract, and be sure to stick around for number 10. It's give you some great information, and number 15 is probably going to be a big surprise to you. So let's get right to it. Let's look at number 1. Hello friends, welcome to my Living in Marietta, Georgia channel. If you're new to this channel, it's all about what it's really like to live in Marietta, Georgia and surrounding areas. What it's like to live, eat, sleep, play, and everything in between. And if you're not new here, welcome back. So please hit the like button, it'll help others to find this video more easily. And hit the subscribe button and tap the bell so you get notified each time I upload a new video. My name's Dan Hilsman and I'm a real estate broker. We get so many calls from people reaching out to us about their move to Marietta, Georgia and surrounding areas, and we absolutely love it. And you can get on a call with me too. So if you'd like to talk, give me a call, send me a text and email, or skip all that and go straight to the front line by scheduling a Zoom call using the calendar link in the description below. However you want to get a hold of me, I've got your back when making a move to Marietta, Georgia and surrounding areas. Number 1, how close to the school lines are you, or the school zoning lines? So if you're looking to, if you have children in school, and if you're making a decision based on school zoning lines, you want to be sure to know how close the home that you're looking for or considering going under contract on, or the neighborhood, is to that school zoning line. So a great example, my wife and I, we have 2 children, and when we moved to a certain school district, and it was a neighborhood that wanted, the house was great, but we also moved there specifically for the high school district and the middle school district. About a year or 2 into that, we got notification that they were considering rezoning. So we had to, start doing the reach out and the signing petitions and making sure that our neighborhood didn't get moved to a different school zone. It would have been a pretty big problem for us. It cost a lot to move, but more importantly, the school zone, the high school was going to go from a 9 rating to a 6 rating at that time. So the other school wasn't a bad school, it just had some problems that some people, gave it really bad reviews, which drove the score down. So, but my children really wanted to be in the high school that we were in zoning wise for their friends, for sports, for education, and those purposes. So super important that when you're picking a home in Marietta, you know where the school zoning lines are, and you want to be sure that you're not too close to the line, because those lines do change from time to time, and they can change. So reach out to me if you want more information on that. Happy to help you and talk to you about different areas that might be a better fit than wherever you're looking at. So number 1, the school zoning lines. Now let's look at number 2, traffic out of the neighborhood. Some neighborhoods in Marietta, this is a big problem. There's a new neighborhood, for instance, near me that's being built that is going to be a big problem getting in and out of that neighborhood during the heavy traffic times. So if you just go into the neighborhood on a Saturday or Sunday looking at homes, you may not be aware that it's not going to be easy to get in and out at 7:30 to 9 o'clock in the morning. Also, probably 2:30 to 4 o'clock, with school buses coming in, but also more importantly, probably 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock. You might get almost home. I'm talking almost home, like half a mile from home, and it could be another, 5 or 10 minutes waiting in a line to get up the road far enough to turn into your neighborhood. So if that's a concern to you, that's something you need to be aware of. So now let's look at number 3. Number 3 is the drive to work from the home you're considering buying during the time that you're going to have to drive to work. So there again, you don't want to make a drive, just a test run during the time that you look at the home, or to do a map search or anything like that. So you want to actually drive. A good tip would be to actually drive from the home or neighborhood that you're considering buying to your work during the time that you have to go to work. And that'll give you a good feel for the traffic at that time to see if that's even something you want to do. A lot of traffic in Marietta, Georgia and the surrounding areas, but a lot of times you can get into a neighborhood where there's 2 or 3 different options for getting to any one particular place. And then if you know what those options are, if you have a plan for those options, which is the best way to go, but also plan B or plan C, that could be a good solution for you as well. Number 4, what time do the buses run? So recently in my neighborhood, I live in a big neighborhood, about 500 houses. Recently in my neighborhood, I got stuck pretty early behind one of the buses. And it was probably, stop after stop after stop. I was surprised how close they stopped. Now, glad they stopped close to each house for the kids, but I was a little bit in a hurry. So I was thinking, when is this going to end? So it's kind of helpful to know about when the buses come in, and that way you can get there a few minutes early or wait a few minutes to leave. That way you're not traveling through your neighborhood and taking, it probably took me probably not quite, but it seemed like 5 minutes to get from my house just out of the neighborhood. And it's a big neighborhood, but if there was no buses, it's like a 1 to 2 minutes. So what you want to know, what time the buses are running in the morning, especially if you have to be at work at a certain time. You don't want to get caught behind that, so that's just a good tip to know. And that was number 4. Now let's look at number 5. Number 5, you want to have childcare. Go ahead and, if you have childcare that's going to be set up, you'll want to go ahead and have that in place prior to, or you at least know what that looks like, the cost, the availability prior to going under contract. Because what you don't want to do is to go under contract, get ready to move into a home, think that you're going to have childcare set up, especially if it's out of the home. We have some great options in Marietta area that my daughter actually helps a lot with in-home childcare in between her college classes. So if you want more information on that, reach out to me. I can be a little bit of help to you there. But you'll want to have that already set up, especially if it's outside of the home. You want to make sure that they're going to be able to get your children in. So sometimes there's a waiting list. So that's something that you'll want to look at and have in place prior to going under contract to make sure that your plan for childcare is going to be a good one. So now let's look at number 6. Number 6 is backdoor options for getting to work, getting to grocery stores, getting to school, just getting to where you need to go. So as I mentioned earlier, in Marietta, there's a lot of different ways you can get back roads from place to place. So some areas there's several choices. And if you want to know those choices ahead of time, also there's a lot of road construction from time to time. So if you know that, then you'll know the next, the plan B to get around that, and then to get to where you're trying to go to with your different options and different plans. So if you go ahead and have those set in place and kind of get a feel for the neighborhood, make sure you have more than one way in and one way out, especially if it's to work or especially if it's to somewhere that you have to be on time. That's a great tip for you as well. So now let's look at number 7. Number 7 is research the school ratings. So you can research school ratings. I look at greatschools.org as a source and a site that I look at school ratings. It does change and fluctuate a little bit from time to time, but you can also look back at different comments in history to see what your thoughts are about that school and about that rating. So a great idea ahead of time is to look at the school ratings, to have those already know what the ratings are. And then also what you'll want to do too is you want to look for all the schools. If you're focused on a high school, but there's a couple of areas that you focus on a high school, the middle school is not a very good rating. So what are you going to do about that? And then if you move to a middle school that has a good rating, but the high school has a higher rating, then that can be a problem as well. So I've dealt with all that many, many times helping people. If you need help with that, let me know. But a good tip is for you to look at those school ratings. So now let's look at number 8. Do you think that you may someday want to rent your home? So if you're buying a home and you think someday you may rent the home or do an Airbnb or turn it into investment property by your next home, you want to have that, you want to know that up front, because there's some areas, some of the HOAs just will not let you do that. Some of them will let you do that if a certain percentage of the neighborhood is not rented out already. So sometimes it's not a problem, sometimes it's a definite no, and sometimes you can get on a waiting list. So one thing you'll want to know up front is if you think you'll ever want to rent your home, turn it to an Airbnb, turn it into an investment property, then we may have to help you look at a home that they won't have that problem with. So knowing that up front is going to be a big help to you, and it'll be a big help to the agent that's helping you with the home. Love to help you with that if that's a concern. So do you want to rent the home? Need to know that up front. Now let's look at number 9. Number 9 is, do you want to have to deal with the HOA and the regulations? So some of the HOAs are super strict in Marietta. Do you want to have to turn in a request to cut down a tree? Do you want to have to turn in a request, if to paint your house a different color? Do you want to have to deal with getting notes and letters and warnings if your pine island has too many weeds in it, or if your grass hasn't been cut in a timely manner? If you leave cars in the street, some HOAs aren't real friendly with that. So how much are you aware of the HOA? How much of the rules are you aware of? And is that something you even want to deal with or not? So we do have some great choices in Marietta for homes not in HOA, but if you want to be in that HOA neighborhood with the pools and the tennis courts and trails and things like that, then we're probably going to have to deal with the HOA. Different HOAs in every neighborhood, so the HOA, we'll look at the rules and regulations and help you make a choice there. So now let's look at number 10. How close to the highways are you? So you'll want to need, if you have to commute to work or school or getting from place to place using the highway system, we have several different highways near Marietta. So you want to know how close you are to those highways. Now, one big benefit of being close to the highway is you can get to where you need to go a little faster. But if you're too close to the highway, there can be a lot of traffic right in your area just to get to the highway. So that could be a concern. So how close are you to the highways? That's number 10. That could be a big problem. So it's something you really, really need to know. 285 is a highway that runs around the whole perimeter of Atlanta, and that's super close to Marietta. So knowing how close you are to that highway, but also knowing how much traffic comes off that highway at different times that would be near your neighborhood could be a big deal. Now stick around for number 15, because number 15 is going to surprise you. But now let's look at number 11. Number 11 is how close are you, or do you need public transportation? Now we do have Cobb Link, which runs through part of Cobb County, which is the county that Marietta is in. So if you're interested in public transportation or need public transportation, then you'll want to check with the public transportation to see, how close it's going to run to your neighborhood in Marietta. Some of the neighborhoods it's not very close at all, and some it's pretty close. Another option is you can go a little bit north to get on a tram to get to the airport. So there's big parking up north a little bit. So you want to weigh your options there. If you have to go to the airport a lot, you might want to go ahead and have that planned out. Maybe Marietta, if that's a big concern for you, might get you a little closer to the airport or just a little closer up north. So that commute's not quite as bad either. So there are transportation options, just not many. The main one is Cobb Link, which is a busing system that runs through Cobb County. So if you need public transportation, Marietta may not be a fit for you. Maybe closer to Smyrna, has a little bit more activity on the Cobb Link, but public transportation. So you want to know how close you are to the grocery and the medical. Sometimes, with the traffic, it could take you a little while to get to grocery stores. Personally, we live about 3 minutes from 2 different grocery stores. So, but depending on the time of day, even though it's not very far, it could be 5 minutes. But depending on the time of day, sometimes I wouldn't go to the grocery store probably 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock, generally speaking, because I have to wait 10 minutes in line going down one road that they're doing a lot of construction on right now to get back home. So, and also if you do a lot of doctor visits, you want to know about how close your doctor's office is. The grocery store and medical, you want to have that planned out before you go under contract. Number 13 is how close are you to your church? So if you come a little bit ahead of time, if you're making a move to Marietta, Georgia, and you have a church picked out, we'll know how close you are to your church, especially if you're super active in your church. And then also, if you're very active in that church, what kind of community activities, so the amount of time that you have to go back and forth to church. So lots of church options in and around surrounding Marietta. We do have, we're in the South, we have lots and lots of churches. So if you know the church that you're going to attend, you want to look at the commute from your house to that church, especially if you're going to be going to that church many times throughout the week, or going to that church and then doing some volunteer work in the community, just to see what that looks like. So just a good idea there to see, how far away your church is, great routes to the church, and then also get with the church to see, where a lot of the community volunteer help or support activities are. Number 14 is you want to know also about how far you are to the gym. So Planet Fitness is a gym that a lot of people use. We have a lot of different Planet Fitnesses, but if not just fitnesses at gym is, but if you like to walk or if you like to run, we have, Kennesaw Mountain is close to Marietta, Georgia, and lots and lots of trails up, around, and surrounding the that mountain. Also, we have lakes nearby. So what kind of fun activities do you like to do? Atlanta Braves are just right outside of Marietta in the suburbs of outside Atlanta. So if you're a big Braves fan, big sporting activity fan, if you like boating, things like that, then we can get you close to where it is that you live, close to the things that you like to do that are a lot of fun. Because you want to have a high quality of life too. It is in the South, so a lot of outdoor activity, a lot of time spent outdoors. And if that's you and that's something that you enjoy, then we want to get you close to the things that you'll enjoy, the fun things that you can do in Marietta, Georgia. Number 15 is going to be a little bit of a shocker, but how close are you to the train tracks? So there are train tracks in Marietta, Georgia. Now, story I told in one of my videos a while back, I was showing a home. This was outside of Marietta, but the same can apply for Marietta. And we're at the house and we hear just off in the distance, just ever so slightly, some little bit of a rumbling. And we're looking, and coming through the woods, sure enough, was a train. So we didn't know there was train tracks back there. But also in the summer and spring, maybe also a little bit in the fall, but I haven't noticed it quite as much then. But I'm probably 7 miles from a train track. But every now and then at night, when it's really quiet, just very, it doesn't bother me at all. But just in the distance, I can hear a little bit of a train. When they blow the horn, I can hear the train. So I'm not close enough to where it's a concern in my neighborhood is. But it could be. So if I was a good bit closer, that train might take a little bit of getting used to, even if it's nowhere near my neighborhood or the house, just the way the sound carries at night in the Marietta, Georgia and surrounding areas with the train tracks. So, we don't have a lot of trains, but we do have trains, and they do run quite often, and they are pretty loud, and for some reason they like to sound the horn at night. So even though the train tracks may not be in your neighborhood or super close to your neighborhood, you may want to go at night and hear, how loud that is, and if that's a concern or bother for you. So, a little bit of surprising that could be a problem if it's not super close to your neighborhood, just the way I guess the sound carries at night. So want to be aware of where are the train tracks, how loud are they, and is that going to be a problem for you? So I hope you enjoyed the video. My name's Dan Hilsman. I love helping people make a move to Marietta, Georgia and surrounding areas. If you're making a move to Marietta, Georgia, surrounding areas, I've got your back. However you want to get a hold of me, you can give me a call, send me a text, an email, or schedule a Zoom call using the calendar link in the description below. However you want to get a hold of me, I'd love to help you with a move to Marietta, Georgia and surrounding areas. Hope you enjoyed the video. And in the next video, I'll be talking about the 5 best neighborhoods to choose when making a move to Marietta, Georgia.